last day. It has been a busy, exciting week here at the Dubai Watch Week. Today we're talking about collection. I see familiar faces, passionate collectors, maybe new beginners. We're going to try to explain how and share with you how we can efficiently collecting. What are the new tricks? What are the new available tools that are today on the web? But we also will share with you experiences of collection, experience on how to collect. What are the frustration for a collector? What are the best ways to live an intense passion? So today we have with us Chabi Nouri, which has a long experience in the watchmaking world, as she was working at Cartier and former CEO of Piaget. We have Mishal that you guys have seen here many times at the Dubai Watch Week in very animated and passionate panels. And we have Giovanni Prigigallo, who is the co-founder of EveryWatch that we will explore today. Today we have a lot of information out there, right? There is a lot of websites, there is a lot of different social media, a lot of dealers, auction houses. We've seen in the last I guess 6 months a multitude of new auction houses that have been launched, independent, less, not a century-old auction houses, but individuals driven by passion and obviously by business that decided to also join this community of experts and proposing exclusive timepieces, maybe in a different way that it used to be. We also have seen in the last year watches become assets, investment assets, very difficult to get. Problematics with dealers. Today you have to be good in politics, and you have to be good in PRing and try to get the best, the access to allocations, access to the timepieces you love. The overall industry had never been as busy. We can see it here at the Dubai Watch Week, but you can all admit that the watch industry, the horological web, has never been so active. Let's see. Let's see how is collecting today. What are the pains? Mishal, for you're collecting since years. What are today as I said before, the frustration for a collector?
I don't know if this is working or not. Is it working?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. First, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for taking the time to talk about something which I hope becomes as addictive to you as it has become to me. This is a very painful experience, but a very enjoyable experience, which is collecting watches. There are many issues, many joys in collecting a watch. The experience of buying, looking at finding the watch, hunting for the watch, getting the watch, and then acquiring the watch. But there are a lot of frustrations too in the present structure. So today, for example, November and early December, you're going to have the Philips, Bonhams, Christie's, Sotheby's, etc., are all going to have watches. Now the question is, unless you're going to go and search through every one of them individually, you don't know how many of the same watches are going to be repeated. You don't know what's the price range between watch A and watch B, assuming all the same conditions. And you're constantly having to check one after the other, and then hope to get the notification, and you get the notification, so you start following after. If there was one location where I could see all the watches that are being presented, it would make my life easier. So that's one aspect. The other aspect is, again, the issue is price range. because everyone will have a different price range. There are some that are the standard, which are auction houses which are standard, and you know what to expect. You have individual people who are selling their watches, and usually they sell at prices that are here in the top of the list because they think this is the only asset they have. And then you have sorry, it's not okay. It's okay. I'd rather take it off. Sorry. Is this better? Yes. Okay.
Much better.
Sorry.
I think you have to.
No, sorry. Sorry. So, when you're constantly having to chase after a product, in this case a watch, and something that you feel passionate about, even if you're not looking at it from a financial perspective, and you're looking at it from a personal perspective, and you're wanting to buy this watch, you want to know you're getting a good deal. But not being able to see the price range between A and B and C and D at one time makes it very, very hard. The other thing is now, as you mentioned, the amount of auction houses are popping up left, right, and center. Well, how accurate are they? How much can I trust them? How much do I trust them? To what degree do I trust them? They could present something that looks good, but is actually a Frankenstein watch inside. The wrong movement, the wrong bracelet, the wrong dial, and I don't know about this. So, and I'm not able to go and visit every one of those places and every one of those locations to physically go and check to see if there's something off. What do I do? These are some of the things that we experience as collectors that really starts to bother after a while. And if you had a place where you could see all of these things to a certain degree, there's a certain amount of comfort that you get. But until recently, I had to do all of this thing myself, and which is it's fun, but my wife doesn't think it's too much fun when I'm sitting 3 hours, what you call, away from her. So having something that will make my life as a collector easier, I'm all for it.
Chabi, from a brand standpoint, how do you track, collectors? How do you track the collections that are there? What's the interest from a brand to have access to these informations?
Good morning, everyone. So I think the overall experience, because that's what we're talking about. What is the experience we have into this watch industry that is continuously developing and growing, despite, every time there are some questions, turbulences, is going to stop, not stop. I think overall it is growing and it continuously attracting a lot of people into this industry. So it's true that we've seen in the last years suddenly a massive activity. So being watch collectors, but also newcomers into this industry. You also see the CPO development really big time across the world. We have now watches that are treated as assets, and all of that has attracted a lot of interest. And this interest, of course, you start to have plenty of now platforms, bloggers, informations, and it's very difficult to navigate. Even without talking about a tool, just to understand the dynamics of what's happening, the trends, the underlying trend, what is really going, it's a challenge today. It's a challenge for everyone, including, I think, everyone in this industry. And for me, if I look at the brand side, when I was in a brand, managing a company and a brand, you want to understand the assessment of your own company. You want to understand the desirability. You want to understand the underlying trend. You want to understand where is it performing better. Of course, you have your primary sales data, but you don't have what's happening after and who's looking for what. And of course, you always are sitting at a place where you see it from your own filter. Your teams are also seeing it from their own perspective. And that's why I think as an experience, it's very challenging to really understand what's happening out there. So you have some insights, of course. You talk to a lot of journalists, very, I would say, knowledgeable people that give you also a different perspective, but it's not easy. It's a very complicated experience, and it's going to continue to be because it is attracting a lot of people. So I would say that's my experience, and that's the reason why when I was presented a specific tool that was enabling one place where you see that, I got very excited because I thought, okay, now we have something that is not only convenient, but should be very objective and give a good sense of what's happening out there.
Thank you. Giovanni, as watch lover, young collector, I mean, like most of the people here, and as Misha said, we are spending a lot of time on the net, right? We're trying to find the best information. We get, we have favorite websites, we have a routine. But how do you leave you as a newcomer in somehow? How do you experience this quest of finding the right timepiece on the web?
Good morning, everyone. Audible? Okay, great. So, as a young collector, I had a certain budget when I went through school. So, in order for me to collect, I started trading in and out of watches just to be able to experience more and more watches. So, I have some experience also in dealing watches, and it became a little bit of a side business for a few years. And actually, it was, this tool, EveryWatch, came out of necessity. Because when you're looking at a certain watch, yes, you can, even from the dealer's perspective, where are you going to pay for it? You can see the prices in the dealer groups or what the dealers are asking for. Then you need to go and check what's available in the market, Chrono24. Then maybe there's a discrepancy. Then you need to go maybe Instagram or singular dealer websites, and it becomes very tedious. So, and same thing for the auction houses. And many times there's many places that you don't know, even regionally or close to you. So it's a broad set of information, and until now you were always blind to some degree to certain information. So the tool EveryWatch really came out of necessity. And what it does is really, it helps you in a matter of seconds to really understand, as Mishal said, what is the range of price, what is the reasonable range of price, and then depending on condition, set, etc., that watch is going for. And then, of course, if you're new to the auction world, is it convenient to buy at auction versus the marketplace, or the other way around? Or if you want to sell your watch, where do you maximize your money? Is it through auctions? Which auction house? Which country? Is it through dealers? Where's the region in the world where this watch does best? And also, when I had some inventory, or also in your collection, it's tough to understand how is your collection divided? How is your stock divided? How much do you own of each? And I think we're bringing a very compelling tool, especially with the collection, to make sure that you actually understand what do you have in your collection. Maybe if you want to diversify, and all this type of information, which can be very, very, very useful. And also through the auction sales data to really understand what people are paying for these watches, and not only rely on asking prices to understand. And I believe this will make also the auction house's life easier and the dealer's life easier, because there won't be that back and forth with the clients. Oh, but I saw this going for this much. Yes, that's an asking price, but if we base it off sales price, we believe will make the market more efficient, will make collecting more efficient, and their interactions for all parties more efficient.
Thank you. We've been talking about live prices. You're looking for a price, or you're looking for a specific watch at a specific moment. But having been in the media world, in the press world since almost 15 years now, and having an agency, and having brands that ask people like us to make some benchmark analysis, to explain what's happening in the market, how the market evolved over the past years. I think there is also a lack of information in terms of historical data. It's not only about knowing what a brand is doing, or how an auction house is performing in the last auction in Geneva. Is to see how a brand performed over the 15 years, last years, how the market evolves year on here, and this is extremely difficult to find. When we have to create a report for a client, it's very, very time consuming. I mean, first of all, you need to find the right, you insiders. You have to call your friends at the auction houses. You have to call collectors, people that really know the market, no flippers, no speculator, people that really live their passion and that have accurate information. And this is extremely difficult today. And moreover, auction houses, they give results, but you don't have historical results. When the new it's very difficult to track back and to be sure that everything is there and that you will know exactly what happened like 5 years before.
Maybe just on that note, I also think that all the press, the bloggers, the journalists, all the content creators in a way that are really enabling this industry to live and to express itself, I would rather have all these brains and all this discussion around their point of view and what's happening, instead of having to waste or to spend so much time in gathering the information for it to be credible. So I think that's also a very good, positive outcome of having something that will give you a rounded perspective.
Oh, by the way, one of the things that I don't know if you're familiar with or not, if you go to the auctions on the websites, one of the things that they do, which is very annoying, and this is what I love catalogs for. The watches that don't sell, they remove it. So you don't know what didn't sell. And so you don't know the pricing, you don't know what was the cause of it not being sold. When you get the physical catalog, you actually knew exactly what watch was being presented, and whether it was sold or not, you didn't get the answer, but you can always pick up the phone and call the auction house and they'll tell you. But if a watch is presented in their list and is then not sold, it's just removed from the catalog. So when you go to the website to check historically what happened to that watch, you won't know. So the more we can get that type of information out, the better. Because it's not just what watches sold and at what prices. There is one other thing that, as a buyer, it's very annoying when I'm trying to collect watches. In some auctions, some play to this. A watch is sold, so they'll have it. You have the price of the watch sold, but the sale doesn't happen until the money is exchanged. So if the money is not exchanged, that watch is not sold. But the hammer price is put up there, so you think this is actually the price, which after a while becomes very annoying. Because that's when you start thinking this is the price what I should be expecting. The more we can have some transparency into this type of market, the better we'll be off. Now, auction houses are actually some of the best run places for buying watches. Because to a certain degree, again, credible ones, to a certain degree, you have a bit of trust because you know these are the companies who've been doing this for the last decades, in some cases, centuries. What happens when you buy it from a private seller? What happens when you buy it from what used to be called the gray market now? I guess not anymore. What happens? If something is wrong with that watch, what do you do? Again, the more transparency we have, maybe all these tools are not going to be available immediately, but I'm hoping over time that these tools will be added on. And the more transparency, as Giovanni said, the more transparency, the better it is for us as watch collectors. And I'm really hoping that there'll be enough pressure on everyone in this industry to start becoming more and more transparent, because the customer, the more knowledgeable the customer is, the watch collector, the more likely he or she is going to move towards them than that who is vague.
So as Giovanni said, there were a lot of, from a lot of frustration, a lack of transparency, the idea of creating a platform, a super aggregator, a place where the information is clear, where you can have a very, very easy access to this information. A platform that would be useful not only for newcomers, obviously collectors, but also for professionals. A place where you know that you can rely on information and that all this data is formatted, is presented in a very digest way, in a very clear way. I propose, Giovanni, if you wanna, we can take, a moment to share the platform, to share EveryWatch with all of you guys, and then we'll be very happy to take questions.
Okay, so can we start with the demo? Well, in the meantime, I'll go back to how the idea of EveryWatch came to be.
This is you didn't know about it, it's a 3D version of the website.
Okay. Well, I'll go back to how the idea came about. It was exactly through this type of conversation between collectors, where really there was a big lack of transparency in the market and lack of readily available information. And that's exactly where EveryWatch started. So I want to thank you for coming and welcome to EveryWatch. Our motto is every auction, every sale, every watch. And EveryWatch currently aggregates more than 250 auction houses globally and more than 150 marketplaces and dealers worldwide, with a total amount of watches that is about 1 million, with more than 350,000 lots, sales prices recorded going back to 1989. So we're in a very unique position to get very unique understanding and information to people on how watches, as Alex mentioned, as Mishal mentioned, can be viewed as assets. What is their performance? What are the winners in the market? And really to give a better understanding of what's going on to everyone in this industry, to all the key players. Because until now, there was no super aggregator, there was no availability of such a massive scale of information. So the services that we offer so we show upcoming auctions, upcoming watches, again, from all the auction houses that we talked about. You can see all the details, you can go in and see more. You can see all of the recent results together with the performance, so we're able to analyze the performance of a single watch, of a single reference, even specific series, and of course of models, brands, auction houses, to give better information to buyers and sellers to know where to go to maximize their money and to get the best deals. Of course, you can browse by brand or any other feature that you want. We give the possibility to compare watches, not only between marketplace or dealers' listings, but you can compare listings to upcoming watches at auction to recent results. So if you compare the same watch that just sold for X price to something that's upcoming at auction to a marketplace listing, you'll have the full view of the market, the 3 layers, and you will really be able to make the right decision on where to go. Or let's think about a newcomer that wants to buy, for example, a Rolex Submariner, doesn't know which reference. They can really look at the specific of the watches, what's the different sizes, where are the different bezels, what are the different movements, the features that change between the watch. And once they have the right reference, then they can actually use the tool to compare deals and make the right choice. And we have a very advanced notification system by which you can save a search, even using keywords and very advanced. Just to give an example, you could look for a Rolex Paul Newman Lemon dial, and you could save the search. And even if none are available in the market currently, only if and when one will come up, we will send you notification about the upcoming watch at auction, if a new listing shows up in the market, and then once it's sold, we'll notify you about the results. Also, you can follow watches. So once you have a big pool of followed watches, you will get a notification every 2 days with a sum up of what's going on in the market with your favorite watches. So you can stay up to date on everything that's happening directly on your inbox without any effort. We do all the work. And we have a magazine as well where we further break down the analytics that we provide. We also have, as I was mentioning, the collection management system. A very unique take we give both the auction value and the marketplace value, the medians, not the averages, which can give false information. And as you can see, we're very uniquely positioned to give a value to certain watches that are very rare. For example, let's look at a 2499 with a black dial. You can actually see what the auction results were in the past year, in the past 12 months, if there's any available for sale, and the performance. So we saw that 2 lots in the last 12 months, they both sold above average, none were unsold, and the median auction value was 1.2 million, and you can also see the range. Everything is clickable. And of course, this works also with more common watches, like a 5711. You can specify the details, so you can have statistics for the white dial versus the blue dial, and you can really see the median at auction, how many watches sold, the auction range, also the marketplace median value, and the marketplace range, and also the performance. So you can kind of understand how these watches are performing and what is the real value, and you can compare whether you want to go at auction or marketplace to either sell or buy your watch. And we perform the same analysis also in the listings. I'll get to it in a minute, but as I was saying, you can really break down your collection into groups, for example, by brand or by complication, by independence versus modern versus vintage, anything you really that you want, to really know the total value of this subcategory, and then more specifically of each watch. And for example, just to give a further example, for the 5004, you can specify that this is the platinum with the black dial and the leather strap, and all the information that you see here is only based on the watches with these specific features. So it's very, very, very detailed and precise. If we look for just an example, there's a Daytona 6263. When you open a listing, you also see the price range, and that's what I was saying. You see the asking price or the estimates if it's an upcoming auction, and you can immediately relate it to what's available in the market, what is the median at auction, and what is the performance of the watch. Together with this, we also aggregate the descriptions, whether it's the description of the listing or the catalog notes from auction. And with an advanced AI system, you can research all of the information that goes in there through the search bar. So if you want to look for the serials of a watch, you can actually see all the pictures, when it went at auction, how many times, where, what was the sell price. Also, we give broad market analytics, just to view a complete year. Let's move to 2022, where you see month by month what was the amount of watches sold. At the top, you have a disclosure. We don't aggregate anything that's below $300. And for 2022, we had more than 140 auction houses, as you can see, that contributed to this, and more than 1,000 brands. Think of all the pocket watches and the brands that cease to exist. There's so many out there, and this is a full picture. And you can see month by month, compared to last year, what are the numbers and what is the performance. You see also the lots, if there was an increase in lots or a decrease, and the sales. And I will take a little bit of time to explain what's going on this year. We already reached the sale amount of last year up to the end of October, but the lots are much more. So yes, there was a decline in price in the market for many watches, but the market is more live than ever because there is a lot of transactions going on, and I'm very happy to see, and I believe this is the unique tool to actually understand these trends and really assess the market in a very unique way. We further break it down by models, so you can see all the features, so how many times they went at auction, what was the top price, the unsold rate, the average price for vintage and modern to understand which is the strongest market, the average performance against the mid-estimate, and what is the most prevalent case material. We also analyze the top 10 auction houses and the top 10 brands. We're an objective platform, so this is fully defined by sales, and it changes every year, of course. And you can really see who has the biggest average price and who's doing the best. And you know, if you want to sell your watch at auction, you could understand where to go. Or if you want to collect and you want to understand trends, this is a good way to do it. We also compare the vintage market to the modern market. And again, this year, last year, the modern market was performing much better than the vintage market, but we see this year trending towards a unity between the two, which is also very interesting and a very unique tool to assess this type of information. We also do breakdown specifically by brand for the performance, by auction house. We give the auction house range of price. And then the most interesting part to me is the most prevalent case materials and dial colors, which we really see change a lot between even month to month, but especially year to year, which could be useful, again, to all the players in the industry to really, really understand trends to a magnitude that they've never done before. You know, think of a dealer or an auction house, they base it off their own clients, but they don't know about the other clients and what's actually preferred. Brands the same way through the new market. And this could really, really help everyone grasp a better understanding of the overall market and what's going on. That's EveryWatch in a nutshell.
It's really in a nutshell. I mean, we all of us spend a lot of time in the platform, and I must say that there is a gazillion possibilities. You know, if you're a young collector and you're looking for something, not only, you know, you've seen the Giovanni's collection is very high-end, right? But you have a lot of data. You have a lot of brands. So even if you're looking for a more entry-level watch, you can find the information you need. You understand where it's available, in which marketplace, or maybe something is coming up in auction and you might make a good deal. So there is a variety of ways to use the platform, and also, you know, we were in Geneva at the auctions, and you know, launching a platform, launching a new business as EveryWatch, being entrepreneurs, there is always you know, uncertainty. You don't know how the market will react. These very old, century-old auction houses, they have the way of doing business in a certain way. Are we too disruptive? This transparency, is it positive? Is it not positive? It's gonna bother people. At the end, Giovanni and the team, they had a fantastic welcome. This platform was needed. It's incredible that, okay, watchmaking, first of all, we all agree that is the slowest, quietest industry out there. Everything comes a bit later. These aggregators are existing in the car business. They're existing in the art business. They exist in a variety, in, you know, hospitality. But nothing was done, and certainly not to this level of, to this quality and accuracy. And now it's out there. And I think that all the actors of the watch industry will find benefits. Not only the auction houses, but take, for example, a dealer. A dealer, of course, he wants to show, you know, to have more visibility on his timepieces, but he also spending time researching the prices, the market prices. He's making the prices with auction house, certainly. But, you know, to know how the market behaves, to know actually also what the competitors are doing, what are they listing, how much they price. It's all a question of time. You can get the information. There is a gazillion information out there, but it's all a question of time and motivation. Because if you have to take the phone, call the guys, know what's happening, etc., or you have a platform and you can use it from your desk at home or in your mobile when you're about to take off, and you have access to all this information, and you know it's qualitative, this will definitely be a game changer. Mishal, how do you think that EveryWatch will have an impact? Do you think that EveryWatch will have an impact on the watch world, and if so, how?
Without a doubt, it's going to have an impact, because you're going to give some clarity which before wasn't being seen. Again, the issue of being able to get an opportunity to be able to see the range of watches, the price within the watches, access to information which before, as I said, was hidden and not collated. The other aspect for me is the ability to have your collection in one place. When you have your collection, it also helps you visualize, because I can't tell you how many times, and I've done this myself, I'm guilty of this, how many times have I bought the same watch twice? And that's because I didn't recognize that I had that watch. And having it, what you call in a collection, it kind of puts you, you know, helps you visualize things. We as humans, we visualize a lot of things. So having this thing on a very visual status here helps a lot. To be able to get people to be more transparent. again, as a buyer, or even as a seller, as the more and more people are more and more transparent, as there's less and less mystery, there is more and more. I'm fearful that it goes towards a commoditization of the product, but it's such a specialized product. I don't think so. But you're going to have people who will be less and less thinking of. One of the worst things that happens, and I'm not here to discourage people because everyone is free to choose what they want to do. But one of the worst things for me as a collector is to have to interact with flippers. Because their purpose is to raise the price and they don't care. This is, as far as they're concerned, it's a commodity. We want to get this one in and out as fast as possible. But for a collector, I'm buying the watch because I really love the watch. I want that watch. This is something I want, part and parcel of my collection. So the more and more information I have out here, the harder it is for flippers to be in that market, the better for me as a watch collector. And again, on the price range, it doesn't really matter whether you're talking about the $100,000 or you're talking about a $1,000 watch. You want to feel that you're getting something worth your money. More information out there, the clearer it is, the more transparent, the better it is for you. So that you can create your own little world of watches that are yours. And you don't necessarily have to end up doing what Giovanni had to do, which was to flip his watches constantly because he's looking for the next thing. The more and more transparent the market is, the smaller the bandwidth will become in terms of the price. The smaller the bandwidth becomes, yes, maybe there is less upside for your watch, perhaps, if it's a more common watch. But there's a certain amount of serenity in your head that you know that I've gotten a good deal. And that's important. This is very important. Having an aggregator like EveryWatch becomes significant for watch collectors. It might not show now, but I promise you, the more and more you use such a thing, you're going to enjoy it.
Chabi, from a brand standpoint, how do you think it will impact the work of important watch brands?
I think I'm going to answer probably more on the overall side. And that's what I liked about this venture, is that I personally believe that we talked about the fact that the watch industry is continuously is very dynamic and growing, and it's going into. Of course, let's put aside a bit the turbulences, but on a long term, this is where it goes. I believe that this is a way for us to continue to have newcomers into the industry. It is very complicated. A lot of people will come. You have the younger generation. You need to build this credibility, this understanding for people to be at ease and navigate through that. So, and I think we saw it. You talked about the art world. Since we have these platforms in the art world, so many newcomers came in. So many new people said, okay, now I start to understand it a bit better, so I'm at ease to come by and be part of it. And again, as Mishal was saying, from 1,000, 100, or to 200,000 million pieces, it doesn't matter. You just need to have the proper understanding to grasp it, to be able to be part of it. Otherwise, you confuse people, you don't know, and you don't want to play in it. So I believe that this is going to help to continue to grow, and that's what we're looking for. The industry in general is looking for an even more dynamic place and an even more dynamic segment. So that's why I'm very confident that it's going to impact positively everyone. And looking at this type of platforms, it has never been a competition to anyone. It's not. It's an enabler, it's a building block, it's a complement, but it's not a competitor. It's not something that will replace. It's not something. The contrary, as you said, the welcome was very big because it brings something to everyone. So I think more than just from a brand perspective. Yeah. Sorry, but also I think for the brands, when you get to this type of course, you always know the big brands and so on. When you get to a place like this, and it has happened in the art world also, you start to discover other brands, different references. You start to get out of the big, I would say, not common, but exceptionals that everybody loves. And that also creates and brings some dynamism into it.
Do you think it can, this is a question open to all of you guys, do you think it can irritate also? Because we're talking a lot about the positiveness, especially from a consumer standpoint, but do you think it can create conflicts? And the transparency, or, we know that, auction houses, sometimes they have a special way to deal with lots. Sometimes the lack of transparency can be also interesting for a certain number of players. Do you think it can irritate some of the players? I mean, these too much clear, identified information?
I think that personally, when you make a change, no matter the industry or the subject, for sure there will be many positives, but there will be negatives. You're trying to change the standard of how we do things. So I'm sure, people that are used to the old ways are going to get frustrated at some point. But I believe that to have something like this, it's very important, again, the clarity and as Chabi was saying, to make it easy for newcomers to come in and understand and trust the market and transact with confidence, knowing that, as Mishal said, knowing that they're getting a good deal, knowing that they're making a good purchase. It's so key and so important, and we hear all the time of people that are scared to get into the market, so that's very important. Also, I will add that we're working on a master database with all the watches ever produced, appeared, and have been seen in the market. We're 80% completion, and we're working also with brands to validate the information, because I believe it happened to anyone that you see a watch for sale, oh, amazing is what I'm looking for, and then there's some wrong information and it's not actually what you were looking for, and it was portrayed wrong. So what we do, we work with AI to actually both fill in the blanks when a source doesn't say what's the size of the watch or something like this, or to actually correct the information if there's any misleading or wrong information by using this well-verified catalog. So I believe that also will smooth out the playing field and help people get into this hobby that we love.
I mean, this industry is quite innovative. We can't say that watch industry is not innovative. It has always been pushing the boundaries with every kind of innovation, and we see it at every fair and every discussion we have with the watchers. And we know also from experience that every disruption has pushed the industry even into a better direction. And we've been able to navigate with that. We've been able to address it. We've never been disrupted in a way that it hasn't pushed us into a better direction. So it's an innovation, as it's not the most disruptive innovation, the contrary. It's an creating value innovation. So I think that there aren't any negatives, and even if we have to readjust or adjust or rethink, it's just pushing us into a better direction.
Just on the point of, again, this is the taboo subject. Most people don't want to talk about it, which is, of course, the flippers. They're the ones who cause the most disruption because they know there is opaque information out there, and you, because you're desperate enough to want that watch, you pay top dollar. So the more information I can get out there, the more you can see what should be the price range. I mean, I've seen, just to give you an example, I've seen Submariners, whether it's Kermit or Smurf. It's the one with the green bezel on the green dial. From $12,000 all the way up to $30,000. Now, if you're buying that, if you're in the market to buy that, I mean, by the way, this is just an example, and you didn't know the conditions, you didn't know the information, there's no transparency, well, obviously the one who's selling it at high end doesn't want you to see this, that there's an alternative at $14,000 or $10,000. He doesn't want you to see this. So the more we can get this information out there, better for you as a consumer, the end user, to be able to pick and choose the one you want at a price that is not reasonable, but is the right price for the market, rather than somebody pushing it out. I'm not going to say the name of the other platform that I've seen. This is not aggregator, but a market platform. And I've seen the discrepancy of the same watch, $50,000 to $250,000. Same watch. And you're thinking, well, it can't be. It can't be that this watch is selling for 50,000 here and 250,000 here on the same platform. You can see it. But again, it's because there's lack of information, lack of knowledge. The data analysis that you put up here, Giovanni, would have a lot. Condition reports, all of these things that help you make a better judgment in terms of what are you getting. Because at the end of the day, the only people who get irritated are people who have things who want to sell you at a high price. The ones who want to continuously be part and parcel of this industry, they wouldn't be annoyed. In fact, they'll be more encouraged. For an auction house, I might not be able to sell at the high price, but I'll be able to sell to more people because more people come on board. That's actually positive for them. It's just the way people have to adjust their mindsets. For collectors, and at the end of the day, we're here all as collectors, whatever capacity. We're all here as collectors. As a collector, I want to get a watch that I enjoy, I want, at a reasonable price, knowing nobody took me to the cleaners. If I can get that through a platform that will give me as much information that makes it easier for me, hey, I want that information.
Thank you very much. Yes, I think if you have any questions, Felix, you start.
You've been talking about this from the perspective of a user, and I understand it's a subscription model at a certain point. Will you also be providing services to, data services to brands, auction houses on the other end? And most interestingly, I think from a regular user, if they're sort of building their portfolio on the back end and what they're interested in, is that data shared with businesses?
About working with the auction houses and the brands, yes, we're already doing that. We're working on special dashboards for them. So let's say a dealer sells mainly 15 watches and he wants to know everything about them. So for that, we can build a special dashboard, updated multiple times a day, like everything on the site, that you can go and reference and check, and you really will be fully up to date. As Chabi mentioned, the dashboards for the brands to not only understand their own performance, but also understand their own performance against the performance in the past years and against the performance of the competitors. So, and also to really understand the trends to then adjust for new watches, not only from a feedback from the retailers or the clients, but also from an unquestionable set of data that will help. The second part of the question was? So first of all, the collection is fully anonymized, so you can put your collection. We won't know it's your collection specifically. We know that a user has that collection. Same for the searches. But we plan to build something around that hasn't been done, by the way, and we think it's really interesting to build something around what the people are actually searching, right? Because if we do become the reference, which we hope, and people to then go to their favorite vendors or auction houses, as we discussed, will come here. We'll have a unique set of information of what people are really looking for. And again, we are here to help the industry grow, and we're for sure looking to share that information as much as possible and to benefit the industry.
My question was going to be, you mentioned you have 250 auction houses, 150 marketplaces, so that's about 400 sources in total. How frequently are you updating the data from those sources, and are there any differences between the marketplaces and the auctions? Is that done in an automated fashion, or is there any manual work involved in any of that process? Thank you.
So it's the collection is fully automated, and everything gets updated multiple times a day. So for example, you can check it once the auction houses, an auction happens, and the auction house publishes the prices. Within a few hours, they will be on our site, and that's easiest check you can do if you want to do it. There's no difference between the marketplaces and the auctions. They're both updated multiple times a day. We're looking to up the frequency, but also the data management, which we're really proud of, and that's where the hard work is done to ensure that all the data is factual and correct, as what I was saying with the master database. That's done through AI, and when the confidence score is good enough, we don't do any manual processes, but when there's a contingency, then we have experts that actually go in and check the data, yes, manually.
And I also add that there's 250 auction houses that also include auctions of jewelry, where you might have 1 or 2 very cool lots. So there is not only the 100% watchmaking auctions. In EveryWatch, you will also find rarities that are offered at auctions, which are not 100% watchmaking. So, and that's most of the time, I guess, done manually, right?
Yeah. So the whole process of selecting sources and vetting them, it's done manually in house. Takes a lot of time, of course, and we're constantly updating and reviewing. If someone unfortunately goes out of business, we do have to check periodically to make sure that everything is updated and in the right way.
This looks great, so thank you very much. As a buyer, we not only buy the watch, we buy the vendor or the seller as well. Are you planning to include any qualitative information about sellers?
Absolutely. So we started with the auction houses. So for each auction house, you have a description and about their specialty, where are they based, and everything like that. We're working on that side. For the dealers, you have a description for brands, for models. So yes, we're looking to include that, and especially with focus on what warranty does the seller gives. So of course, a source might have a higher price, but because they give you 2 years of warranty instead of 1 or instead of 0 from a private vendor. So we do want to highlight that because of course it's very important. And we do want to also highlight, for example, if you deal with especially high-end vintage, or if you deal especially with vintage Rolex, or with vintage Pateks, or with new Pateks, modern, we do want to give an indication of what's the specialty of each one, and we're working towards that.
And reviews, do you collect those?
We were just discussing, funnily enough, we were discussing it yesterday. That would be something also very, very interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Any other question, guys? Good. So
what is your business model?
Okay, so it's divided in 3 parts. We covered them all, but one is the subscription-based service. It's a freemium service. So there will be a free part, which will include mostly the marketplaces and the listings. Some auction results up to a certain price, because of course we know that people on a certain budget won't be paying the full subscription, so we want to enable them to have a good use out of the system from the free service. But we have a direct connection with all the sources. So the second part of the business, and by the way, the subscription will be $500 a year or $49 a month. And the second part of the business model is through referrals. So if we have deals with many of the most important auction houses and dealers, and we plan to transact with all. If we send a buyer, we get a small percentage. And the third part will be, the dashboards for the specific players, the journalists, auction houses, brands, dealers, and tailored data services.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
So guys, thank you very much. You will find on your chairs an access. You have 6 months access to the platform. I invite you to use it. Every feedback is welcome. The team tried to think about all possible options, functionalities, filters, but I mean, it's watchmaking, it's complicated, so probably, some little things are missing. So please get in touch with us, tell us what you think, and enjoy using it as we do. Thank you very much.
Thank you much.
Thank you, guys.